Yesterday you were asking if there's anything floating around in the media that upset you. Yeah, I've already watched this. It's very upsetting. But not even because it's like triggering or frustrating or anything. Like I get very frustrated when I see someone saying like incredibly unhinged shit, right? I get very mad when I see someone quote tweet like Rashida Tlaib, for example, to tell her what an emancipatory slogan that Palestinians have used for 56 years, what that actually means. And there's some sinister hidden meaning actually secretly saying we need to genocide the Jews. Like that's what the real reason is. Like that triggers the fuck out of me. This on the other hand is like a nuke. This is like a nuclear bomb went off in my brain. It shut my brain off when I watched it. And I don't understand how SNL, being incredibly cringe, still clears this program. Colombia anti-Semitic.
Hi everyone, we are live on YouTube with Colombia anti-Semitic news, where everyone is welcome. LGBTQH.
H?
Hamas.
Yeah, I totally sim Hamas.
Yeah.
It's so trending right now.
From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. Do you know why it's true? Because it rhymes.
Oh.
Just look at all this toxic Zionist propaganda. Kidnapped in Gaza. Does this look like Gaza to you?
Yeah, bro, I have no idea what Gaza looks like.
And they're smiling. Do hostages smile? Zionist liars.
Totally sus.
Do they think we're stupid?
Stupid? I major in queer post-colonial astrology. Ew.
I love the actual like legitimate distaste for queer presentation in general that just seeps out of this too. You know what I mean? Like this entire sketch is supposed to signal to the world like, well, look at this classic contradiction. Like Hamas, they would kill all the gays, right? They would kill all the gays. That's what they would do. And all these dumb gay people in America are defending Hamas. They love Hamas. They're supporting Hamas because they're so stupid. Now, it's obviously ridiculous. Solidarity with people who are subjected to cruel and unusual punishments should not be on the conditions that they agree with you. You should have a moral backbone that goes beyond that. I guess for reactionaries in general, this is like an unimaginable concept because for them, they're like, what do you mean? I only defend people who defend me immediately. Like that's it. Secondly, it also makes it seem as though like Israel's solution to the gay Palestinians is better, which is to eviscerate them with bombs.
Jews make the world dirty.
Yeah.
And no, I'm not anti-Semitic. I'm racist fluid.
Exactly. And now for a little break from all this activism, we want to say hello to our BFF,
Bestie freedom fighter,
Abu Fatwa in Gaza. Salam alaikum.
Alaykum as-salam, and inshallah, Allah will kill you all infidels.
Thank you so much for joining us. Love the headpiece, the all oppression chic. Very drip.
Mr. Fatwa, how are you? Are you safe?
Oh yes, I'm safe. I'm in a tunnel under the Gaza hospital. Above me, I have Allah and 2 million civilians protecting me.
Community is so important these days.
Do you need like humanitarian aid, food, fuel, medicine?
It's okay, I have everything. I'm only hungry for rockets.
As long as it's organic.
Yeah.
I wish I just could be there with you.
You can come to Gaza anytime and we will throw you from the roof.
Yeah, sick, dude. Yeah, exactly. That's what's going on. Stop this, please. No, you need to watch this to develop a better understanding, okay? Liberal comedy is very important. Liberal comedy is very important to unlock the consciousness of an entire population. This is an SNL, thankfully. Yeah, no, it's just a projection of their pure, unadulterated racism. So that's number one. Like, I mean, it's not even funny, though. That's the problem. Because I don't think you can, like, get this racist and be funny at the same time. It's just, like, it's not happening. This is like 2 steps from SNL would do, no doubt. Sure. But many Americans will look to this and recognize that this is literally like a Steven Crowder sketch. It's just so bad. Yes, this was made by the Israeli SNL. By the way, the Columbia Law Students for Palestine group wrote for the Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch for over a decade advocating for the recognition of the Israeli apartheid. We worked super hard. Al Haq was our partner in Gaza and the West Bank. Sorry for the spam, Habibi. Yeah, I'm proud of you guys for pushing. And then the dam broke on that end. Why is it in English if it's the Israeli SNL? Why was it made in English? What do you mean? This is literally for guys. At what point will you recognize that Israeli propaganda does not have to exist for a broad majority of the Israeli population? Israeli propaganda has to exist for the Western world, because without the Western world's unconditional support, without, for example, America constantly fucking vetoing any kind of UN Security Council commitment or condemnation, Israel would not be able to behave in the way that it does. This is something that you have to understand. Settler Night Live is crazy. Yeah. If there was a sketch comedy TV in the 1930s, Nazis would have been doing shit exactly like this. I mean, I think they did do that. There probably was shit like
You
that
homosexual dirt.
Do you hear? Bro, want to throw me a rooftop party?
They are so welcoming and inclusive.
So, shukran. And you are also very welcome to come here to America.
We will come. First, we finish with Israel, and America is next.
I love this. He's like, we're gonna come to America. Like, we're gonna finish Israel and then we're gonna come to America. Like, Hamas is gonna attack America, dude.
Great! So, I guess we'll see you soon.
Yes, it will be a blast.
Can't wait. It'll be so multicultural.
Yeah. Who would laugh at this? Extremely racist people. Like, incredibly racist people. In order for this humor to work for you, you have to have the exact same positions as these people, and maybe even more racist than they are. Like, you have to be in the intersection of, like, just enough homophobia, just enough resentment for college campus activists, and of course a metric ton of Islamophobia in general to be like, to look at this and go, this is hilarious. To me, it's like the grossest offense of this is that it's not funny. You know what I mean? How is it racist? They're talking about terrorists, not Palestinians. Come on, brother. Come on. You have a dude here. Like, this is such a Sam Harris 2004 take. I feel like I feel like I'm getting whiplash. Like, you're one step removed from being like, actually Islam is a religion, not a race. Like, I have to go back to like the same 2-decade-old arguments about how like Islamophobia is racialized, and how, like, for example, my name is Hassan, but most people, if they didn't know what my name was, would not perceive me as like a Muslim person. Whereas like the first victim of Islamophobic hate crimes in the aftermath of 9/11 was a Sikh person. You know what I mean? Like, all this shit. Like, do we have to work through all of this? Really? Like, you were that hardwired to jump to this? Like, the notion that Hamas is coming to America is ridiculous.
Ya Allah, you are so stupid.
Thank you so much, Abu. We love you.
I won't even bother killing you. It's a waste of bullets.
Good vibes only.
It's better you just kill yourself.
Okay, bye.
Die.
Die. This is Ahmed the dead terrorist, bro. Like, straight up. You're a dumb if you literally look to something like Ahmed the dead terrorist and go, what's Islamophobic about this? Like, what's anti-Arab about this? That's just a terrorist. That's not a human. That's not like Muslims, dog. I've been dying for you to watch this video. Okay, sure. I'll watch this video. You confuse me with facts.
1945. World War II is finally over. Europe is filled with tens of millions of refugees. 2 years later, Great Britain lost control of Southeast Asia. India and Pakistan win independence, and 7 million Muslim refugees exchange places with 7 million Hindi refugees. Today,
I don't get it. What the fuck does that have to do with Israel? What's happening here? What does this have to do?
not one of these people is a refugee. Not one. They have integrated into their host countries and built new lives. And then,
motherfucker's like, hey, I'll have you know, in 1919, there was also a border swap between Greece and Turkey, and they were not considered refugees no more. And it's like, yeah, okay, fine. Really gruesome process in general, but also still, the fuck does this have to do with Israel? Like, I don't get it.
there
It
are
wasn't
the
1919, but it was around that time. I don't fucking remember exactly when it was. God damn it, it's my own goddamn personal history, and I don't know.
Palestinians. In 1947, the United Nations presented a partition plan.
This is Israel's Foreign Affairs Ministry. Okay. Israel's Foreign Affairs Ministry.
For the Jewish homeland. The Arabs gave a resounding no to that plan.
Yeah, I wonder why, dude. I wonder why. Because most of the people at this point, the Jewish population is 33% of the people living on that land. They are seen as like settler colonialists, which they are. They are engaging in a settler colonialist project. And who is doing the settler colonial project? The motherfucking British that claimed that they were going to give a national piece of land to the Palestinians for collaborating with them against the Ottoman Empire. So yeah, of course they're going to be like, no, dog, we don't want this. You told us we could have our land. I thought that's what was going on. What do you mean? And in that 1947 partition plan, at the end of the day, the 33% population of newcomers who are Jewish end up getting 55% of the population. Anyway.
They rejected a state for themselves if it meant also giving a state to the Jews. 6 Arab states attacked the fledgling Jewish
Yeah, just out of nowhere, this
state,
is what happened.
which was small but plucky and determined to survive. In the meantime, many of the Arab inhabitants left their homes because of the war and the promise by Arab leaders that the Jews would be defeated quickly. They plan to return when...
Okay, so there is some level of truth to this, okay? No, there is some level of truth to this. Some people did think, or actually most people, did think that they were going to get back their homes, okay? That part is true. It's just a very gross way to cover the story by refusing to recognize most of these like Arab villages had at this point, by this point, had created their own, like either they had like a barely a standing, not even a militia, but just like some arms, small arms, because they had been disarmed by the British occupying force at the time, as opposed to the standing military that the Zionists had, Haganah, with like more than 100,000. So of course it's not true. The only part of it that is true is the part of it that the part where there were definitely people that thought that they were going to come back to their houses once they left.
When they won the war and the Jews had been thrown into the sea.
I like the idea that they won the war and the Jews were thrown into the sea.
To their great surprise, they lost. Several 100,000 Arabs had become...
They lost. Yeah, bullshit. Like that he started off with 1947 instead of talking about the Nakba, because yes, technically the expulsions predate the Nakba. The Nakba is just the most significant form of it, the most militarized form of it, because it accompanied like the British completely pulling out at that point. However, leading up to the Nakba, there was constant back and forth fighting amongst Arab villagers who did not have as many weapons or anything like that against a very well-trained standing army. Like these were not just like random people. In many instances, people try to act like you just had like Holocaust survivors like grab up arms and get killed, and it was a big war against all these Arab nations. It's like bullshit. And also, the reason why this video refuses to even say the word Nakba is because they want to cover it as though like a war broke out. I make videos about history and facts continues to lie. I mean, this is the Israeli government. Of course it's a lie. Of course it's like all of it is a lie. This is akin to like a Turkish government video talking about Armenian genocide being a lie, okay? It's the same shit. I think like me being Turkish, growing up in Turkey, learning about Armenian genocide as being like objectively a lie is the way they cover it in school. This is the way that I've been taught. 100% gives me like a unique perspective on this that most people will not be able to understand. So I get it. Like it's almost identical. The way that Israel talks about the Nakba is identical to the way that Turkey talks about the Armenian genocide, except the difference is Israel's a much more important and valuable ally to the United States. So like they can get away with just straight up lying about everything.
Refugees. Later on, they would be called Palestinian refugees. On the other
it's disgusting.
hand, at about the same time, 850,000 Jews were forced out of their homes all over the Middle East. They had lived in the Arab world for thousands of years.
I like this propaganda because like it literally, first of all, there's multiple waves of immigration that occur throughout this time frame because of different Arab countries having their own post-colonial movements, which also engages in like Jewish violence and pushing them out of their countries to go to Israel. But it's funny that he's saying this because this video in and of itself, unironically, if you know anything about the Nakba, if you know anything about like the forcible expulsion of Palestinians from their homes, makes it seem like the only reason why Jews were expelled from their homes is because of a reaction to the Nakba, which is true. That part is true, obviously. But it predates, like Jewish immigration into Israel from Arab countries also predates the Nakba as well. So in a weird way, it ends up muddying the waters in a way that like benefits someone who is trying to make a wrong argument, claiming that the only reason why Jews were expelled from Arab countries is specifically because of a reaction to Israel and its nation state being formed.
But when the Arabs were defeated and the State of Israel was established, it was too much for the Arab regimes, and they showed
a lot of it was immigration and not expulsion. Yes, a lot of it was immigration, but to say that it wasn't a consequence of like anti-Jewish violence, like it would be wrong. That I don't agree with. I mean, there was heightened tension even before the Nakba.
showed their Jews the door. Therefore, you could say that the Arabs and the Israelis exchanged populations.
Oh my God, this is so gross. The Arabs and the Israelis changed populations. God, these people are so racist. Dude, one, the Palestinians, there is no one united Arab population, just like there is no one united Jewish population. Okay, this does two things. One, attribute the violence that other individual Arab nations in their own national movements, in their own nationalist movements to build a nation state for themselves. It attributes all of that violence to Palestinians. Okay, all Arabs are the same. They're one track minded. They just hate Jews. Okay, so that's number one. And number two, it makes it seem as though there was like this population transfer that occurred because all the Jews were also one track minded as well, that they just like kind of swap places. Meanwhile, the Arabs that lived in those nations still live in those nations. The only people that got fucked over in this process are the Palestinians. It's ridiculous.
Much like in Europe after World War II, and much like the Hindus and Muslims.
That's gross. That's gross. Yeah, dude. Yeah, like Moroccan Jews coming into Israel went through the same conditions as the Jews in the Holocaust. Good take. When you're so horny to try to like justify and also avoid talking about like the real genuine violence that you subjected people that lived there to, that you just end up doing a little bit of Holocaust revisionism. You know what I mean? It's not fine, you know, just a little bit. The second thing that this video does, which is what Israel as a government has done that really frustrates me, is the idea that Jews and Arabs are separate. You can't eat hummus and you can't eat falafel and act like that's your own thing while simultaneously being like Jews and Arabs are totally separate. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. You can't be running around talking about how you make hummus and then be like Jews and Arabs are different. No, they're not. There are millions of Arab Jews, you asshole. Fuck you. And every Arab Jew that says that they're not Arab, that there's something different, that is supremacist, okay? That is a supremacist ideal that was instilled upon a population that had to go through a rough integration process to Europeanize themselves a little bit. It's so dumb, dog. It's so stupid. It's so ahistorical. Yeah. To ask an Arab Jew if they're Arab or not and see how they react to it. Maybe not in America, but in Israel. If you ask an Arab Jewish person in Israel if they're Arab, they flip out. This video is stupid as
Muslims in India and Pakistan, and leave things at that. But the Arabs aren't willing to leave things at that. If they had, the Arab states would have done what Israel did a long time ago with the Jews from Arab states: integrate the Palestinians into their society and provide them with citizenship. Wow, what a not revolutionary idea! So why weren't
all Arabs, like Palestinian citizens of Israel, that were that made up 20% to 25% of the population, were under military rule? And then after 1967, those guys were still they are still absolutely systematically disenfranchised in very legal ways because Israel is an ethno state. But it didn't even matter because then you also have a much larger problem post 1967, where you have an occupation on both Gaza and also in the West Bank. Now you have a much larger Palestinian population that you're completely dominating.
Weren't they given citizenship or any other rights? The Palestinians were deliberately kept as refugees so that they could be used as a weapon in the war against Israel.
Yeah, dude, Israel is always small bean, you know? They're always the small bean country. They're not a violent ethno state that has done a tremendous amount of ethnic displacement in the region as a settler colonial project. It's always just a small bean, and all these other guys, they're being kept as refugees to hurt Israel. No, you did this, and you don't want to deal with it. You did it, and you don't want to deal with it, and you don't have to deal with it because, like, nobody gives a shit. Nobody gives a shit about Palestinians. Why? Because they have nothing. There's no natural resources that the Palestinians have historically had. They got olive trees and fishing, so no one gives a fuck about like defending their rights. It's just the truth. That's it. And if you want to look at Palestinian history from the American perspective, the only reason why anyone has ever given a shit about Palestinians is because of our allegiances with the Gulf states leading up to the 60s and 70s, because the Gulf states had a lot of power from oil. So that's the only ever interest in like maybe looking at the Palestinian plight from the perspective of Palestinians was almost always from the perspective of the Gulf nation states that at the very least back then would say like, this is unacceptable. This is completely unacceptable. We're going to do everything in our power to make the West hurt. Yeah, the olive trees were set on fire in the West Bank. Hamas was hiding under them. I know, it's sickening, especially considering how long it takes for olive trees to actually produce olives. And these are 100-year-old trees and that they're burning. It's the most disgusting, gross I've ever seen in my entire life. It is so violent. It is so awful. It is specifically done out of anger. It's for vengeance. Israel's incursion, Israel's siege on Gaza right now is an act of vengeance. It is an act of vengeance, and it is an act of ethnic cleansing and ethnic displacement. There is no real ending Hamas purpose behind it. They know it. I know it. We all know it. The American government knows it. That's why they keep like leaking to the press. Oh, Israel has no plan on the Gaza Strip. Maybe we should reconsider this. It seems like Israel has no plan on what to do with the Gaza Strip. Of course they don't have a plan, because there is no plan. It's just violence. It's just like violently displacing as many people as possible, slowly but surely taking territory, additional territory. Meanwhile, the American government is like, wow, maybe use like smaller bombs. Please, you're making it really hard for us to defend you. That is unironically the perspective of the American government in this entire process, is to simply stay behind and go, dog, please just dial it back. You're making it so hard for us to defend you. Like, we want you to kill all the Palestinians. We do. We love that. Thank you. Please keep doing ethnic cleansing. That's actually pretty fire. We don't give a shit about Palestinians. We are America after all, and they're Arab. Why the would we ever care? However, you can't keep doing it so publicly and so awfully, because the more you do it, the more people are going, hey, hold the up. This is kind of gross, and this is ethnic cleansing.